Damn. Wasn't expecting the daughter to completely mimic the dad. I just reunited with my son. Now I want to beat him up so I can still be the man of the house. I hope Eleanor just keeps dropping swear bombs. Damn, dinner be damn good. I really appreciate how the beginning after the end, they had a father-son moment, which was essentially just, okay, my son's back. He seemingly is, taller, stronger. He's saying he's got all these magical abilities. I need to beat his ass to make sure that he realizes I'm still the alpha dog around here. I love a good reunion, throwing hands. If you can't say that's not Father of the Year, I don't know what is. I'm fully convinced Dad is selling his body on the streets to pay the bills. I know he says otherwise, but I can read between the lines. You can't fool me, TBATE. You can't fool me. But I love the idea that, while this is, in my opinion, probably one of the weakest episodes of the BATS, I don't think it's weaker than the first two episodes, but it's not necessarily saying much. Production and everything, and honestly, the general content is a lot more boring than what we've had over the past few weeks, but you're not gonna see me say this was garbage or abysmal or I thought it dragged. Like, the episode did go by relatively quick, but I don't want to just see the same people who keep calling me a clown because I like the show to just be like, oh, all he does is praise it. Because no, like, I do think this was a weaker episode by a lot. There was one specific moment in the production that was actually pretty well animated. It's like in the middle of the brawl. Like, for the most part, they just kind of have images. And then there's like this 4 to 5 second scene where they actually throw hands, and I'm like, okay, where'd that animation come from? And then it's just gone. But in general, it pretty much looks and functions what we've come to expect from the show. And for the most part, anything outside of the general action scenes is kind of what I expect. But it's funny, because had our boy been able to train a little better with his monocore and everything, had he not had his dragon baby to take care of and everything, he would have came back looking a lot more intense than Light Red. But Dad was like, haha, son, look at how strong I am. And if only Dad knew. Like, I appreciate that Dad wasn't jealous or anything. And obviously, it's not just like he came home and he's like, I need to beat up my son to, make sure he knows I'm still Dad around here. I just do that for the humor, okay? It's just funny to think of. But, sarcasm in the internet, it's right over people's heads. But I generally wonder how impressed he would have been had we been at our full potential, because we know damn well Arthur would have been a lot stronger had he not been completely screwed around by everything going on inside. But it was nice because it feels underwhelming in the way the reunion happened. And I did compare the image, like the initial, him popping up at the door. And yeah, there definitely is more emotion, I think, in the source material. But the thing is the reunion's different no matter what version you look at than I was expecting. Because usually with these types of reunions, you would have the mom and dad just immediately grab you tears of joy. And the funny thing is despite me saying it's more underwhelming than I'm used to, they probably responded the way I would. This is probably the Brandon reunion. It's kind of like I'm happy you're back, but I'm not really going to show a ridiculous amount of emotions. And you saw it by the end of the day, they were continuing to talk. It was weird at first because I'm just not used to stories presenting the reunions like this. It's usually a lot more emotional. And I guess, too, we're often used to seeing, by the time we do get home, one of the parents is dead, kidnapped, lost, who the hell knows, right? And it's just usually a lot more gloomy. But when the parents are all alive, it's usually just immediately a lot more tears of joy. Where all three of them, I guess 4 if we include the sister, we're just kind of okay, this is what I've been up to. But I think what kind of saves it for me is while it was weird, the reunion, it was just okay, they don't feel as happy as I was expecting. The little moment when he's getting tucked into bed, I appreciate that they were damn, we're so happy. It just kind of added okay, they don't show emotion the way you're expecting. But for someone like me, I can kind of understand how they did that because that's probably how I would be, to be honest. That's just yeah, I'm generally happy you're back, but I ain't gonna be hooting and hollering and screaming. I'd be oh shit, I'm happy you're back. I guess I get it. It's just, I'm not used to it. It's weird. And, to be honest, it's weird to say, but I honestly found it to be slightly more emotional with the general people, our group, our original party. I thought the stuff with Jasmine and stuff was more touching, not even just like quite literally as she was feeling us up to see if we're okay. Just honestly, I felt like it was more personality filled there. But like I said, like as much as I'm criticizing the fact that the family stuff didn't feel as heartwarming as I was expecting, I think they probably handled it the way I would. So it's like it's a weird double-edged sword for me. But I'm sure a lot of people are going to talk smack about this episode. I think people are going to highlight a few different things. One, probably the reunion not being that emotional. The production looking more or less like the early stuff of this show. And honestly, not a whole lot happened, but this was a setup episode, right? Like, we are in a new environment. They already are starting to sprinkle in some plot lines, like the dude who owns the home where they're living wants to send him to Magic Academy, which I assume he'll do eventually. I mean, it couldn't hurt. You already got trained by, a magical elven grandpa guru, so why not have some also normal education as well? We have a new character. I was told, actually, I think it was in last video or the video before, apparently this isn't a harem. So my natural instinct would be like, oh, this is a girl who's going to join in on the arty harem, but apparently it's not a harem, and that's music to my ears, to be honest. In general, though, I felt like the family acted pretty normal, even if they were more underwhelming than I expected. I appreciate that the family just honestly feels innocent, and while we don't have a lot of information about what the sister's going to look like, she did make me chuckle a couple of times. Like, she's very clearly protective and just infatuated with her dad. The fact that when he says damn, she says damn, and then the mom gets mad, and then dad's like, don't say damn, and she's like, damn, I won't say damn, and it's just like, it was cute. It was. And she's oddly suspicious. She's like, I've heard about you, but I don't know if I trust you. Like, in general, they kind of function the way they should. And I do appreciate, too, that there's this very quick moment that probably a lot of people won't really care about or think is important, but I think it goes a long way to show that the family didn't forget, because often, sometimes, like, these characters return, and the families are like, we completely forgot all about you. We acted like you never existed because we had so much guilt and we couldn't do this. Seemingly every night, before tucking this girl into bed, they talked about her brother. So she knew of the concept of a brother. She knew she had the existence of a brother. Seeing it is obviously different than hearing about it. So I appreciate that that was established, so that even though the overall initial reunion was fairly tame than what I was expecting, the fact that they continued to have the existence of Arthur around, it shows that he wasn't, just replaced because she was already pregnant. They very clearly missed. So I think, while it wasn't what I wanted, they still did some things that I like, and I think it's worth highlighting. But yeah, I'd be a liar to say this was as good as the past few episodes for me. It's definitely a lot weaker, but am I miserable and not wanting to watch more? No, I'm definitely going to come up here next week to watch it again. Just not what I was expecting. But if you try to convince me Dad's not selling himself for money and he just wanted to beat his ass to assert dominance, you're a damn dirty liar and you can't convince me otherwise. You let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. Of course, we also have those full live reactions over on my Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Carl Stefan Berndal, Achil, Convoy83, Hayden, Cody Namir, Chorus, Project 7. We also have Emma K-Pop. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Y'all have a good one.